Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that's Connor, and we are going to talk about Black Mirror Season 3. Now, obviously this isn't the review. We've reviewed all the episodes individually, fairly in depth. So there's those 6 videos. There'll be a link in the corner to the playlist. You can go and check all those out. We went really in depth in each one of them and our thoughts and feelings. But all of those we did record right after we watched it. They were very fresh thoughts. So what this is going to be, it's going to be a chance for us to talk about what our favourite episodes are of the season, how it holds up to the previous seasons, and anything that we might want to add that we kind of left out before.
Yeah, and it's also we've had about nearly a week now to reflect and actually
Yeah.
let them sit and determine what we actually feel.
And Black Mirror is a show where the episodes do gestate a bit in your head, where you think of new things, you realise that other things relate to other things, and you end up having a better sense of things later on. That said, I don't want to promise too many great insights, but no. So yeah, uh, I'll say it first of all. I think this is the best season of Black Mirror. Um, I think it came along, and I don't know if I was expecting that, but I think pretty early on I was convinced it was better than season 2. But I think the first four, and this is sort of giving away what I think are the weaker episodes, but I think the first 4 episodes of this season are probably the best run of 4 episodes that the show's had.
Yeah, that's probably fair because I feel like even in the other seasons there was always one weaker episode at least
Yeah,
that kind of brought it down.
especially season 2.
Yeah, probably.
So, um, yeah, so let's let's start this off then by doing some favourites and least
Okay.
favourites. Um, I've went back and forth on this as to what my favourite episode is.
See, my favorite and my least favorite are set in stone.
Right.
It's the middle few that are a bit more chaotic.
Okay. Okay. Um, After so much deliberation and uh, much thought, I have went with San Junipero as my number one episode.
I have two. And again, I don't want to say it right now because it's still a bit fresh, but it might be my favorite episode of the show.
Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like one thing I've learned from this season, both from just the online, just the online chatter, but also our own comments, is just how different the opinions have been on some of these episodes. I've seen people call this the worst one easily, which baffles me.
And then we've seen some call what I'm pretty sure is unanimously by between us the worst
Yeah,
episode. We've seen that been called the best.
we
So
have, and not just by other comments. Variety did a ranking of all the Black Mirror episodes, not just this season, but the entire thing. And their top episode from this season was my least favorite.
yeah.
So different opinions and all that, and that's okay. You can disagree with us. Let us know in the comments what your favourites were. Uh, but San Junipero, there's lots of things I really like about it. I like how I like its sense of mood and tone and its style. Like, it's very unique compared to the other episodes. It feels right from the get go. It's got that very 80s sheen, neon lights, and
It's kind of grimy.
it it's grimy, but it's dreamlike.
Yeah.
There's something dreamlike about the whole thing, which makes sense given what it ends up being about.
Yeah. I also think for me that it's one of the only Black Mirror episodes that's just straight up uplifting, which is it's so out of field for what if the show usually leaves me feeling at the end.
Yeah, they kind of prepped us with it with a Nosedive, which was definitely a more upbeat episode compared to what because Black Mirror traditionally is very, oh great, we're all buggered. This is,
Yeah,
society is screwed.
like 9 times out of 10, if you don't go away from a Black Mirror going, what's the point in life? It's not really done its job.
And it's funny because I have seen some people read into this episode and speculate that it is a bit darker than
Hmm.
it is at face value. But I don't know. I left. Maybe it was just because after episode 3, I really wanted to feel good that I took just the best possible interpretation, the happiest that I could from that episode. Like, no, no,
Yeah,
no. I need to feel good about myself after that. So,
yeah. No, I don't know. I feel like we spent a while talking about this,
yeah.
obviously, in the video, but I came out and I felt good. I felt, like that technology. It was one of the few episodes where it's like, no, technology can be a good thing instead of just be afraid.
And it's funny. I've heard that your religious beliefs might play a role in what you think of this episode. I've heard that some people who are religious and believe in an afterlife actually see this as a very very cautionary tale. Whereas I think for atheists, it's like, oh, that sounds quite good. Yeah,
Yeah,
upload a conscious into a computer. Sounds quite nifty.
no, that's fair.
But no, I think it's sweet. I think the leads do a fantastic job, and you buy their chemistry early on, and I was invested in their relationship.
And maybe I'm forgetting one, but it feels like the only actual love story that Black Mirror's done. There's been like relationships and romance and stuff, but none that was an actual, just straight up traditional. This is a love story, essentially.
It depends what your goalposts are, I
Yeah,
guess.
there's a couple that maybe, but not in the more traditional sense.
Yeah. This is the one that was like they meet, they fall in love, and for the end of the episode, we're hoping that they would end up together. Like that's
Yeah,
certainly the only Black Mirror that's felt like that. Absolutely.
yeah,
So, no, that I think just everything about it, the style, the music choices, the art direction, everything about it, just it created this vision, this final product of that. I just felt like I was in this world for the entire time.
yeah. At the same time, it's such a product of right now.
Hmm.
Like the themes it's tackling, the subjects, everything. It feels like this is made for now, as well as all this other stuff that it has going on.
Yeah. Is it any surprise that both of our episode 2 picks are probably the same?
Do you know what? My episode 2 is a lot closer than you'd think, but we have got the same one. I'm almost certain of that. But
Yeah,
it's
shut up and dance.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's it's funny because again, like we said in the review, like this was one that had a bit of buzz before we watched it. It was like, okay, why is everyone talking about this? Why are we had comments on our episode 2 review saying, I can't wait to see what you think of episode 3, which is like, oh dear, what is episode 3? That's
and
what that makes me feel.
as we did say in the review, like Peter watched this before me, and he just sent me a message going like, brace yourself. That's the level that I went into that with.
Yeah, this is probably the hardest hitting episode of Black Mirror potentially.
Yeah.
I certainly can't think of another one that gave me this much of a gut punch. Don't get me wrong, Black Mirror has specialised in giving me gut punches over its show.
This one was less a gut punch and more a gut stab.
Yeah, it really was. And again, like many good Black Mirror episodes, there's been a lot of debating. Like, I think this one, more than any of the other episodes, has more comments in our videos. People debating, like, how much guilt should be felt, what the twist did. My cat's getting in my way, go away. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about it, and all the episodes have done that to an extent, but I feel like, and it's funny because one of the things that I actually never said in the video, I think I said it in one of the comments, was the age of the main character was almost misleading because you tend to expect a certain type of person to be what they turn out to be in the episode, and I'm dancing around spoilers, but someone who is that age, you just, even though they obviously can be that, you don't think of that. You think of someone who's middle aged. You think of someone who's.
I think we brushed against in the episode where we were talking about his age was throwing us off because we weren't entirely sure how old he was meant to be. But yeah, it's a fair point you got there.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see different interpretations and different people thinking that characters were guilty enough to warrant the punishment, or if it was too severe, or if in between, like. But I think the reason why it is my second favourite is just at its core, it is so goddamn tense, and the entire thing is a ticking clock as they're being forced to. It's essentially a really. If you've ever seen Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance, it's essentially a game of Simon Says, but to a really extreme level.
And it's so impressive how masterful the filmmaking is that it can maintain that tension for 60 odd minutes. No, a bit less, about 50 odd minutes. But it is like, once it starts, just a couple of minutes in, it gets tense. Once that's it, that's it. It doesn't let up at all.
Yeah, it's as soon as that first email
Yeah.
pops up on the
There,
screen,
there is no moment where it lets you just breathe and relax for a second. It's just nope, this is it.
and it's an episode of like reactions. It's like the email itself maybe wouldn't be that tense, but it's Kenny's reaction in the episode. It's him starting to cry at his computer,
Mm.
where even if you don't fully understand why at that point, you feel for him.
Yeah.
You know, you immediately get how much this matters to him, and because of that, the rest of the episode has consequences and everything that happens. And it's that reason why when you get to the end and you get to the big moment where it affects you even more because you have been along for that journey.
Yeah. It's just fantastic.
So yeah, that would be definitely one and two. I think this is maybe where we might start to differ.
Oh, I'm almost certain. Actually, no, I am certain this is different.
Okay, because I struggled with the order of the next two. I'm not gonna lie, I had a real hard time because I like them both for a lot of things, but I ended up going with Nosedive at number three.
Okay.
And I think partly the same with San Junipero is that I like that it is a little bit different for Black Mirror. It's a little bit more upbeat. Um, it's creepy. Don't get me wrong. The upbeatness of the characters is creepy because they are trying to be so phony and so nice to get these good ratings. Um, but I like this one because I feel like social media at its core is about trying to get people to like you, and it is about trying to get more retweets, trying to get more likes, trying to get whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like this is stupid. Look at what happens if we put this in the real world and actually make this matter.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you know what's interesting here? I agree with everything you're saying.
oh, go on.
Yeah, I had this at number 5.
Oh, wow,
Mm.
interesting.
Little curveball there.
I like the cooking adventure of it. I like that she gets in this stupid rented car and it breaks down and she ends up with these nerds who are stream of humanity, no, time stream of humanity. What was the show called? The fake show.
Something Mars.
Sea of Tranquility.
That's where I'm
what it
getting
was.
Mars from.
That's what it was. But all these oddball things that all sort of line up. Because as much as it is kind of a creepy story because of like how nice everyone's being, the ultimate like character arc at the end is quite uplifting, in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's about breaking out of these stupid society conventions.
It's true, but it's while like we're talking about how San Junipero leaves you feeling uplifted, hopeful, whereas this it does, but it's like only for like one or two characters. Like the rest of the world is still just in an awful place.
Yeah, but I think I like that though because it's kind of like real life. Like even if you have a happy ending, a lot of the rest of the world's still screwed.
No, that's a fair point.
It's like it's maybe it even means more because it's like it's like a one point of hope in a sea of misery, and that makes it matter even more. It's like,
Yeah. No, I get it.
But no, that was my number three. What was yours?
My number 3 was actually Hating the Nation.
Oh, that is a curveball. Okay.
Yeah. See, I knew you weren't going to expect that. I think it was probably the most fun I had with any episode of Black Mirror, which maybe is something that shouldn't be such a good thing for this show, but the fact that I did have so much fun with it kind of elevates it a bit.
I can't follow you. I mean, I think for me it's probably just a case of the stories that mean more are the ones that I maybe connect to a bit more. At the same time, though, I feel like I'm also the guy who watches crappy B movies from the 80s and stuff,
Yeah.
so I get it.
Yeah, but that said, also the messaging of it really appealed to me, and it's something that it's all about the social justice lynch mobbing, and I feel like that's something I personally see quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
And it's something that that I think about on a regular basis because it is so often that I see it. So I felt like that one quite spoke to me on quite a few levels there. It had some issues, don't get me wrong. Like we spoke about that in the video.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah.
It's almost hard to believe that you picked that for your number 3.
Still.
I'm never getting over the bee puns.
This has
No,
been going on since bloody Arrow.
I know. Ever since Arrow had that stupid episode with the bees. Dear God. It was missing Nicolas Cage. I think that's what it was missing. Nicolas Cage.
I just imagined a couple of scenes there with Nicolas Cage, and while I can't deny that would add to the entertainment factor, not sure it would help with the messaging.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not saying that it would make a better film or a better story. I'm saying that it would be the best thing ever made.
That said, I would definitely want to see Nick Cage in a
Black Mirror. Yeah.
in a Black Mirror episode next season. That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, the way his career's going, he'll have to start doing TV.
True.
Yeah, he's in a bad place. I can see it happening.
And this is the sort of acceptable level of TV for film stars as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, my number 4 then is a Playtest. This was an oddball one for me because I feel like it's because we spoke about in the video how it was very two halves. Like this first half of it's very much following him and learning who the character is, getting to know him, so we care about him in the second half. But for me, I kind of think this one for me links up with what you said about Hated in the Nation, where I feel like it was really fun. Like him getting in the mansion and like all this spooky stuff happening and him second guessing it and all that.
It's why I also had this at number 4.
Oh, there you go.
And I feel like it is that it mixes the existential crisis horror of Black Mirror with some traditional haunted house horror.
Yeah.
And that is a lot of fun.
And I feel like here that the weight of the story is more personal. It's less about, big social themes and, big commentary. I mean, there's some of it there, don't get me wrong. But it's more about him putting things off.
Yeah, it's all about personal fears, personal relationships. It's not about interacting with the world. It's just interacting with one person.
Yeah. If anything, it's about avoiding interacting with the world. Yeah. So, no, I thought it was... and again, had a great ending.
It did.
Ending that both came out of nowhere, but also you can completely see coming, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does.
Yeah. No, it does. And it's one of those things where this one's kind of stuck with me as well, the ending especially.
Yeah.
No,
that's fair. My number 5 was Hated in the Nation.
thought it would be.
Yeah, it's fun. I like the fun B-movie, no pun intended, style of monster attacks and the insane plot, which really does sound like it could be in like an Austin Powers film or something like that.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go into full spoilers or anything, but it's a ridiculous plot. It is absolutely insane, the plot in a lot of ways, but it makes for fun moments. It makes for some fun investigative stuff, and I think there was just a few things holding it back for me compared to other episodes.
Well, while I have it higher, I can completely understand why it is lower for many people.
Yeah, but it's just funny though because I've also seen comments on our own video saying this was their favourite. So clearly, Black Mirror is as subjective as it comes.
Yeah.
So
it really is.
I really can't fault that. So obviously, actually no, your number 5 is something different because I assume that must be...
My number 5 was Nosedive. Yeah. Because obviously there's only one left and we both know what each other's respective worst is.
Yeah, so let's talk about the worst one. Let's talk about Men Against Fire, which I have seen numerous people say that this is the best one. That this has the best messaging, the most important messaging and satire of the story. Some people pointed out some aspects of it we kind of missed when we talked about it, which is fair. We are human, we will sometimes miss things.
Especially in a show which has so many damn layers.
Yeah, it's so, and obviously some time to reflect on it. One of the ones that I liked the most, actually, from what I've seen in the comments, was the idea that... I mean, we kind of brushed against it a little bit, but just how it's about how the media vilifies, the enemy in a war of some kind,
Yeah.
The idea of propaganda, almost.
It's interesting, you can tie that in with, we've talked about the immigration problems and stuff, how the Roach is kind of similar to that, where that's also a thing that the media perpetuates this issue, especially if you look in the UK right now. If you look at anything to do with the Calais jungle, and like it's everywhere, And
Yeah.
I feel like the media point there is very accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of messaging in this story. And all of the it might even be the most important messaging because it is maybe the most relevant on a big scale right now to like current day life.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, an entertaining episode that does not make necessarily.
That is my problem with it. It's the messaging is fantastic. I I like that it gets the messaging across, which is important, but it doesn't really captivate me as an episode of entertainment at the same
No,
time.
it really doesn't. It just wasn't that engaging. I didn't really like the characters in this one. Whereas, as I said from the other ones, I liked all the main characters and everything, like up until this point. Especially my favourite four, the first four episodes. Like, all of them I thought had great main characters that I cared about
Mm.
to varying degrees. But whereas we get to this one, and I'm just kind of like, no, he's less of a character and more of a plot device for this message.
Yeah. I think that's a complaint we had a few times over the first couple of series of Black Mirror.
Yeah, there was one or two episodes where we had a similar complaint, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's impressive that only one out of the six fell to that trap, maybe.
Yeah, I'd argue that, I mean, Hated in the Nation kind of like touches on that, but you almost don't care as much because they're detectives, and the whole point of a detective in a story usually is that they're there to, do the investigating
It's
stuff.
that's the thing with a detective. It's an outside opinion, so you're not supposed to care about them. They're just following the story like you are. They're your eyepiece essentially.
Of course, you can do. There's several great stories where you do care about the detective characters, but
But it's not really a criticism when you don't.
yeah.
Whereas
Whereas,
this, where
yeah,
this is a singular main character going on a journey, you're supposed to connect with them, and I just really struggled in this one.
yeah, I completely agree. I also think it's the least appealing visually as well.
It's very drab.
Yeah, they have this sort of like the desaturated kind of look to it, and I get the whole point. It's meant to make it look a little bit more depressing, obviously a bit colder and just miserable, and that's all fine. But it just isn't as interesting visually. I didn't feel that the direction was as strong as the other episodes, and as a result, I just kind of like we say, not engaged as much,
Yeah,
and kind of just reading the message and what they're trying to tell us rather than enjoying the story as it happening.
yeah,
But by all means, though, disagree with us. Tell us we're wrong. Tell us it's your favourite. That's cool too.
yeah.
It's actually kind of great that in a 6 episode season there's so many different opinions and so many. I think obviously we do a show together because we're friends, and we're friends because we have some similar interests. So it makes sense that we have fairly similar preferences when it comes to this sort of stuff. But it is very apparent how diverse the opinions have been.
Yeah. It is crazy, really. Like I've seen pretty much every episode been listed as multiple people's favorites.
Yeah, it's really, really, really surprising. To look at the season as a whole, though, just to sort of like come full circle as to where we started, I do genuinely think it's the best season of the show, and I think Netflix is a better home for it.
I agree. I also think Netflix did a great job with the ordering of the season because I think it was structured really well, as far as an anthology can be. Because obviously you kind of got your ease into it. Because like you said, the first one's kind of uplifting,
Yeah,
and then you have something a bit more traditional, and then you have like the absolute darkest thing possible, and then you have something that makes you feel better. A bit of a palate cleanser. Five's a bit of a I can see where they're trying for it. It's like, right, let's kind of go back in, go back down the roller coaster almost. And then six, it's like, let's end on a bit of fun.
yeah, a bit of fun just to end it up on.
Of course, if you watch the episodes out of order, you've just completely ignored everything I've just said. So whatever.
Yeah, what you can do, it wouldn't affect much, but if you are watching it in order, they have thought about the order a little bit. They've thought about how you go up and down as you go in terms of your mood. So, no, I think that's very smart. I also think the extra money that obviously Netflix can throw at something like this did help. I think.
Oh, absolutely.
I think all of them look like movies. I thought none of them were 16:9. They were all wider. Some of them were really wide, like a full-on anamorphic movie. Some of them were just a bit wider.
If you really want to hear about aspect ratios, go watch. Was it episode 2?
Yeah, episode 2 was the one where I went on for about 5 minutes on aspect ratios. Uh, but yeah, even something as simple as that, they all feel like, it feels like you're watching a movie each episode almost. It really does. Both in story quality, but also just in visual quality and effects and everything about it. It just feels big budget, and
That's not even a slight on what came before, because it always looked good.
No, they did a good job, but it felt like TV before.
Yeah, but this feels like a step up.
Yeah, this feels like each one's an independent movie.
Absolutely.
And that's great. That's good, and it makes me excited for season 4. I guess my only worry would be is, does Charlie Brooker have any ideas left in his head? Does he need a few years off to go and like think of a few more?
It's possible, but then at the same time, I feel like maybe with it going to Netflix, and he's kind of done this torch bearing, maybe he'll kind of pass the reins on and be like, right, you can take this season to someone. And I don't know. Maybe it won't be all him going forward.
It wasn't all him this season.
No, but it was like, I mean, I think 4 out of 6 were at least co-written by him.
Yeah. He had his hand in a lot of it.
Yeah.
But no, it was a great season. Like, better than I was hoping for, honestly. Like,
better than I expected. Like, it's just I was expecting good, pretty similar to the first 2 maybe, but this just blew me away.
Yeah. So yeah. Let us know what your favourites are. And a lot of people already have, actually. On the 6th episode, a lot of people have already commented with their ranking of episodes. So if you haven't done so already, please do so below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out. This is a kind of a weird video for us. We normally only talk about things after we've watched them. But this was such a weird thing, because we didn't want to... It felt weird to put this like season wrap-up discussion at the end of an episode of Black Mirror's discussion, because it is an anthology, and you come, if you've just watched episode 6, you come for the episode 6 review. Is it not a bit weird that we go on for 20 minutes at the end just talking about the whole season and what our favourites are and that kind of thing? But no, really great season of TV. So I will say thank you to all the new viewers we've got. We have picked up a lot of new subscribers over this 6 episode season, so welcome to all of you. Hopefully you find other stuff on the channel that you enjoy checking out. I imagine many of you also watch Westworld. It seems like your sort of thing if you're into Black Mirror.
And I think I mentioned it in one of the videos, but please go and check out Quarry. The season's just finished, but it is phenomenal, and if you enjoy Black Mirror, you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd say so. Maybe Channel Zero as well, which is on right now. That's a 6 episode. It's anthology style in that each 6 episode season is its own story, but it's like a 6 episode serialized story just now.
Yeah, it's some great moody horror stuff in there.
Yeah, which again might appeal to you if you like Black Mirror. So by all means, check out some of this stuff out. We've got reviews of all that, of course, up in the channel. And there's more coming soon, of course. We try new shows, obviously, on a regular basis. And we've got other things like movie reviews and comic book podcasts and whatever else we do. So yeah, but welcome and thank you.
And also, we do have a Facebook group, so if you want to come and join in the discussion on a bigger scale than just this video about everything that we just mentioned there, if you just search Mild Fuzz on Facebook and just join us there.
Yeah. All right. That's us. So it's been an epic season. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out so much. Keep watching TV, guys. We will see you next time.